Hello, everybody. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a great start to June. I wanted to do a video about this month's topic, the miracle of relationships. And yesterday I did the Miracle Monday. So those are the new live in-person workshops in Vancouver. They happen the second Monday of every month, and it's just been going so well. Thank you to everybody for your support. It's just been incredible. And especially for those of you who've been coming back, that's always an honor. So I'm so glad at serving you, and I'm so looking forward to more of them. Yesterday's topic was, this month's topic is the miracle of relationships. And yesterday we had such deep conversations about all kinds of relationships. And I wanted to talk about kind of the full spectrum of relationships. And for example, like looking at how they're there to awaken you in different ways. Now, as an example, with your parents, we actually choose our parents before we come to life, or before we're born. On a soul level, we choose our parents, and usually you've encountered them in previous lives, and it's really interesting when you start looking at that, those kind of patterns. But to look at the present moment, we choose our parents before we come to Earth. And the choice we make is really a soul choice, in the sense that they're there to give us our own growth, and also for us to push them to have their greatest growth, to stretch them as much as possible. And as an example, me being a dancer, my family is quite businessy and sciencey, and so it really was a stretch or it can be very much a stretch to be in my family, because our perspectives really don't match. And I think that's healthy, to have a very different perspective. And I had to learn to express it in a healthy manner, rather than just being like, oh, you don't understand, you don't know what you're talking about. And so now it's probably more appreciated. And that was another learning for me, was to figure out how to be me within my family, and how to be able to express myself so that it's also taken into account. So that's that first rule of spirituality. And for children, again, the same thing, that you're being chosen if you're a parent, in any capacity. It could even be like adoption or so on and so forth. But your children are choosing you. And also for parents, and this is an interesting thing I learned in my life coach training, is how if we look at it from the perspective that our parents' only three responsibilities are to conceive you, to create you, to bring you to life, to take care of your physical being, and then to teach you how to take care of your physical being. So only those three things. Then everything else comes from choice. Now, of course, there's people's conditioning, and they're not really, they maybe haven't let go of their own patterns, or had an awareness about their own patterns and their family stuff, and so on and so forth. So, people bring unconscious bias into parenting, of course. But if we understand that their responsibilities are only these three things, then it takes away the sense of entitlement over what we might not have gotten from them, about maybe whatever you would have liked them to teach you, whatever you would have hoped from maybe your parents' relationship with each other, so on and so forth. So if you can just kind of get off that entitlement, then it gives you this clear space to have a conversation about anything you might need to have a conversation about. And it could probably, it maybe being done in a more neutral way will be more productive for you. And then it's also really interesting how life uses important relationships to trigger you to change. I always say, unless you're a chef, the universe doesn't use your groceries to trigger you. It's not the things we're not noticing. And it can be, and I mean, that's where the growth really happens. It could be that a relationship dissolves, or, and when we talk about relationships, I'm still talking about your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your body, your relationship with money. So, for example, you could go bankrupt. Or for people who are very spiritual, you're going to feel like the universe is not there for you. And so it'll trigger this kind of, like it's like the rug has been pulled out of you, and you have to really recreate that foundation and figure out what is solid, and create that sense of solidness within yourself. That trust and that capability in yourself. So it's really interesting how any relationships in our lives are there to bring stuff up. And in the sense of, I'm thinking of betrayal, when you're looking at, well, what's real and what's not, it's going within to find that sense of self within yourself, that you don't need to rely on somebody, maybe. Like, it's just really asking you to do some deep digging and to try to find your own happiness in that situation, in like in the midst of all this, like really drilling down to what's important to you. And I mean, yeah, like I said, there's so many levels to this, like your relationship with your body, your relationship to money, even certain things like, say, your relationship with bureaucracy, for example. Like, I get really triggered by things that are disorganized. It makes me crazy. And I had to learn to just get off of it and change my viewpoint and just not let that eat up space in my life, because I was getting too worked up about dumb shit. So the things that are even, what are attracting your attention, like your principles, for example, your values might be triggered. Your relationship to your values, the way we approach language, for example, for always saying, speaking of things in a negative way, rather than don't do this. Instead, you could say, I welcome that. So relationship to words. So you can see that there are so many different possibilities. And it's really about having that self-awareness of yourself in life to see, oh, this is interesting. This is being brought up. What do I need to heal? What is this showing me? What is this shining a light on it that I need to heal so I can really let go of it and not have all this clutter, the emotional clutter in the background, and just be able to be fully present in life. It can also be things like emotional things, like not feeling deserving, not believing. Something like this really tests your faith, in the sense that, if you really had a lot of faith in a certain relationship, either with a person or with the universe, and all of a sudden it's not there anymore, it's asking you to remove all the layers where you thought you trusted, and then with that foundation, once it's been shaken, you have to really find it for yourself and create it for yourself. So this is why relationships of all type are so triggering. And now also in relationships with significant others, or even best friends, actually. I'm sure you've heard of The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It's a great book. And it talks about how everybody has a predominant love language, of which there's 5. There's acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, spending time, and gifts. And everybody gives and receives love in a different way. So you could be with a partner, like as an example, I've had partners where time spent together is not important, and so I don't feel loved. Or I'm also not great with long distance relationships because you're not spending time together. So I know that what is important for me in a relationship, and how to honor what my needs are, and to make sure that I am open to fulfilling someone else's needs. Now, not in a needy way, for example. We have to give ourselves our own fulfillment, but I also really believe that if you're going to be in partnership, you really should make that effort to ensure that your partner feels loved in a way that they can relate to, in a language that they can relate to. So this work is also about digging into yourself and figuring out your own needs and wants so that you can communicate that, so you can be a better partner. Or, if your partner isn't giving you that, what is it mirroring what you need to heal within yourself? So partners who don't spend time with me, it doesn't bring up unworthiness, actually. It's like, for me, it went deeper than that. I really had to look at my own relationship with myself and look at where was I not spending enough time with myself. Because, oh, hi, whoever's watching, I'd love to know who it is. Thank you. It was really bringing up, really highlighting how I wasn't present in my own life, how I wasn't spending enough time on my own life. And as I did spend more time with myself, I was discovering all these things about myself that I didn't know, such as the fact that I'm good at running a business, the fact that I'm interested in having a business was a surprise to me, that I'm interested in generating greater income, and the fact that I'm good at it was also really a surprise, because I'm an artist. We don't do money, according to our conditioning and our beliefs. And again, now your relationship with your beliefs is another big thing, because that's going to highlight a lot. And what you believe is what you will attract in relationships. Now, as an example, if you're used to being in relationships with maybe a parent, or you're used to a parent who doesn't see you for your own personality because they would like you to be like something else, you will tend to attract relationships, and all kinds. It could be coworkers, it could be bosses, significant others, friends. You'll attract people where they don't see you as well, and you're constantly having to try to be seen. And that's what needs to be healed within yourself, to see yourself fully. And also, when you see yourself fully, you can see other people fully. So, things are brought up to be mirrored back to you, what you can heal in yourself, and also what you can again then heal in your relationships with other people. And this is how we experience growth. So I'm so fascinated about relationships, because for me, this is the laboratory. This is where we make the change. This is where we gain greater awareness. It's so good when we can step back and take a look at our behaviors, our actions, our words, our feelings, our beliefs, because it's coming up in relationship to something else. And this helps us to then see our own patterns and see what we can change. And then we have true power because we're able to make a conscious decision. We're choosing to be aware of it, and we get to make a conscious decision about how we want to continue. Do we want to move forward with these patterns or not? So again, this is the lab. This is the place to experience things. This is the place to change. This is the the place to become a more productive version of yourself. And, it's also, I think where the greatest gift is, because we get to experience love. And the more that we free ourselves of all of that, the more space we have in our heart, and the more space we have for love in any capacity. So I hope that resonates. I hope that made you think a little bit differently. I would love to know if it helped you. And please do let me know about if there's any other topics you'd like me to do videos about, and I'd be happy to. And I'll be back next week with another video. Thank you.